Hello, in this tutorial I'm going to show you a quick and easy way to use the full screen command in JavaScript. It comes in real handy for a few different situations, but one of the main situations is when you want to go with an image full screen, though you can use this in any capacity you want. Maybe you have a game that you want to create that goes full screen. Doesn't really matter. You can do it though. I'm going to kind of walk you through the code here. It's fairly straightforward. I have just regular HTML document here, and the first code of any consequence here is on line 12. That you see, I have a button that says go full. It calls this function, which I'll show you down below. I will also show you that this works without the button too. I'm going to share this code with you, and if you want to, you can comment out the button, and there's two other places in the code you have to comment out as well. I'll leave it on though for now. Sometimes you might prefer to go without the button. Anyway, we have an image that displays to the screen. And so if you did go out without the button, or just as an alternative on your page, if this image is clicked, we also go full screen. We just have a little CSS styling in here to make sure the image is centered in the page. Then I have a full screen Boolean variable that is going to allow us to toggle back and forth between full screen and not full screen. So this will kind of keep track of what mode we're in. This is just to kind of a variable that attaches us to the document, the body of the document. And so this code that I give you here can work as a image slideshow. I currently have some of the functionality that I commented out in here, but you can easily make this work. And if you did, so this would be your image count that would start at 0. This is the total amount of images in your slideshow. This is a image object that we create to get this whole thing started. Then we call this draw method down here. So I will show you that if you wanted to use the slideshow functionality, you would uncomment out this, and then you get this every time the draw method gets called, the image count increments. Then it kind of goes back to 0 once we get through all the total amount of images, but I'll leave this commented for right now. So we make sure every time through the draw method we reset our image object, and we grab the image we want to display. There's a JPEG image here that is, all my images I have associated with this are numbered, so this is 0.jpg that we're going to call. And then we need to get the size, and basically what this does is determine the size of your browser window and make sure that the image that we're showing is displayed to its fullest capacity in that browser window. And then it also takes into account when we go into full screen, it will resize and adjust so that the image fills your screen, which is an important feature. And I'm not going to really go in. That's this method that gets called, this get size, and this actually resizes your image. I'm not going to go into too in depth in here, but basically the gist of it is you get the width and height of your image, get the width and height of the screen, the browser window, and then do some math, just very simple math to adjust the, get a new height and width for your image so that it fits that window. And yeah, that's basically what's going on in here. Then you just reset your image height and width for your image and tie that to the ID of the image on the screen. But going back up here, that's what this does there. It calls down there. Then we actually, after we do the image setting, we make sure we update the image that's on our screen, the HTML image. The only other thing I'm going to show you down here is, this is the function that gets called, and basically what this function does is if we're going into full screen, we're going to hide our button, and this here is going to call all the functionality for making our browser go to full screen. And this is, so that's all in here. And all these functions in here, especially like if you look, is element.request full screen. This is all built-in stuff. And basically there's 1, 2, 3, 4 different requests that are all for the main browsers, being Safari, Chrome, Firefox, and Internet Explorer. And then once we have them all set, then we actually make our request. And what's happening here is if we already have if we've already been in full screen, then we will come back in here and full screen will be false, and we will actually cancel the full screen. So it's looking at that variable, and if it's false, then we go in here and set it to true and go in the full screen. If it's true, then we set it to false and we get out of our full screen. So again, these are all just built-in functions for those browsers for, in this instance, going into full screen, in this instance, getting out of full screen. And then after we get out of full screen, I show my button again. So let me just kind of show you in action how that works. So here's my screen, and if I click my button, we go into full screen. The image sizes correctly. Now, as that little message there said, I could hit the escape button, but since I have the on-click link to this image, I only have to click that image and it takes us out as well. Like I said, I don't usually like to show this button only because I think it looks neater just to have the image take up the whole screen. And so then I just click, all I have to do is click on my image, and that takes me in and out of full screen. But that might not be obvious to your user, so maybe you do want a button for those. And it depends on what kind of website we're talking about. But that's it. So I'll share this code with you. I hope you like this. Going full screen with JavaScript is really pretty easy, but it's super handy functionality. Thanks.